With that emotion out of the way, time to resume our exploration of Nimbasa City. Before we see a transit... please stop trying to make me go to the musical. Anyway, we missed a couple of people to talk to here. As if you were holding an air balloon. That's interesting. You know, come to think of it, a human holding an air balloon would actually be really useful because you wouldn't be hurt by earthquakes, which would be quite a useful thing to have. And yes, through that bright, sparkly arch is the amusement park. You do not want to go there just now. Nope. Make sure you're perfectly ready before you go in there. The gym is that way, so we're going to have to go there anyway. But for the time being, let's check out the courts. So basically, there's a bunch of people you can talk to here. And you can go out here to check out the seats on the balcony here. There's actually not much to get here. Like, this is all pretty much pointless. But I like to just show these areas anyway, just because I just think it's pretty cool. So anyway, people going on and on and on about athletes. But just what purpose do these places actually serve? Well, you'll find out once we actually get to the teleporter down there. Well, you've already seen my trainer card signature in the first part. So, if you use this teleporter, you'll see a bunch of soccer players here on a sports field. Now, the main use of this place is that 3 specific players here are actually battleable. And you can battle them once per day. Although, yeah, every day, which sport is being played in each of the stadiums switches. So at the moment it's soccer in the big stadium, and in the small court, it is basketball, it looks like. Yeah, so the small court cycles between basketball, tennis, and, I can't remember. The big stadium cycles between soccer, gridiron football, and, is baseball there or is it in the small court? I'm not sure. But, anyway. So basically, the main use of these places is to give you a bunch of extra trainers to battle, and for that, they're actually really useful. Now, in the main story, they generally don't have that much, but the trainers in them get stronger for every gym you beat. So, that's kind of helpful. Now, I'm not actually going to show battling anyone in these parts, because again, in a no-experience playthrough, you get no reward for it except money, so it's kind of pointless. But I will point out that it's only after the Elite Four that these places get really, really useful, because they're absolutely packed with trainers there. Not just the actual sports players, but just lots of regular trainers. Not only that, but most of the trainers there, not only do they give you massive experience, they also give you free items when you beat them, including PP Maxes. Now, the guy over here will give you a Macho Brace. The Macho Brace has sadly become redundant with the advent of power items. Really, the only really reason you have to use this thing is if you don't have any power items yet. Basically, it halves your speed in battle. That's usually not much of a hindrance. And it doubles the effort points you get. Now, power items add 4 to the number of effort points you get, so usually you get better. So, for example, for beating a 1 effort point Pokemon, we actually need to teach Strength to someone in order to progress on this route, so may as well teach it to Teehee. Like I was saying earlier, an 80 power, 100 accuracy move is actually really good by the standards at this point in the game. And again, since Return is very unlikely to reach max power, this is one of the best normal moves we can get. So, people just don't tend to give Strength enough credit. Now, something I want to mention there, that guy there is a police officer. Now, in this game, police officers will battle you even if it isn't nighttime. So, just be warned about that. So over here, if we talk to these guys here, the Marvelous Bridge is getting checked. We can't progress any further, and we won't be able to until the post-game. So that one bridge is going to be completely locked off to us until then. But here, we see a Strength Rock. Strength Rocks work totally differently in this game. No more tedious strength puzzles to worry about. Just push it a couple of times, and bang! The boulder has now fallen into a hole and will be stuck there permanently, so you never need strength again to progress this route. Now, what do we have here? Why, it's dark grass! Finally! So now we can catch some pretty good high-level Pokemon in this grass, so we want to do that. Of course, we also have... Oh, sweet lord, it's a Goth! Use that smoke ball to run away. Run away before it starts, talking about Hot Topic and seducing Draco. It's another Goth! Will these Goths please stop tormenting me? This isn't Hot Topic. Anyway, I probably want to battle this trainer just to get them out of... Oh, another Goth, really? Yes, again, part of the reason why I actually decided to play Black version was the sheer amusement factor of being able to find the Gothic Pokemon. Yes. You know what? I'm just going to sleep that and smack this Goth, because yes, it deserves it. Oh, I was about to say it would be crying tears of blood when we're done with it, but it is already crying tears of blood. XXX bloody tears, XXXXX. Or was that 666? I'm not sure. You can never be certain when quoting that fanfic. Seriously. Complete and total mind screw material. Now go away, Goth, no one wants you. And hey, Hungry Crocs Moxie seems to have activated, mate. Which will boost his attack power every time he KOs something. Yeah, those things can get really, really annoying in multiplayer battles if one of them gets a kill streak going. It can start completely rampaging through your team. And, oh wow, that was annoying. So anyway, this Trubbish is the highest level we can actually catch one, so I'm going to get this thing. Now, yeah, we need to spend some time catching some Pokemon on this route, because most of the stuff we can get here is actually totally new, and that's one of the things I like about Black and White, is that pretty much every route has a new set of Pokemon to catch. Unlike, Gen 4, Diamond and Pearl, where basically every other route was filled with either the Starly line, not that they're not awesome, the Zubat line, the Geodude line, or the Bidoof line. There was just so little wild Pokemon diversity in that game, and that's why doing Nuzlocke in that game without Dupe's Claws is a recipe for disaster. You do not want to do that, seriously. See, again, so anyway, I'm gonna call this little guy Baggles. What's the matter? Can't talk because you're bagged, Baggles? And, we now, come across the interesting problem of getting into a wild Pokemon encounter just as the trainer is turning around, and so being unable to escape. But we actually need to go through this area quite a few times, so it's probably a good idea we actually battle this person. So, here we have a Swadloon. Oh, no, we probably have seen this thing before. Have we? I'm not sure. I'm going to want to get out of here in case it uses Bug Bite, but for the time being, Fire completely wrecks these things, being Grass Bug. Of course, they do have a nasty habit of spamming Protect. You might notice Work Up has less than max PP. That's because I only recently taught it the TM. Yeah, in order to prevent abusing infinite use TMs for PP restoration purposes, any move you teach a Pokemon via a TM will actually retain the PP of whatever used to be in that move slot. And here we find, funny, I was getting confused with Payback and Assurance in the last part, now we have the TM Payback for ourselves. It's actually not that useful in this kind of challenge, so yeah. It's kind of useful for some Pokemon in competitive, but hey, here's another new Pokemon, Minccino. Not the strongest Minccino we can get, though. In fact, I actually may have held off on catching Mincinos for a bit, because, well, actually, we do need to catch at least one Minccino, because before the next gym, we need to do an in-game trade involving Minccino, and it's going to really help us in the next gym, so, yeah. But, anyway, the reason I might be holding off on catching a Minccino at this point is because in the shaky grass in this route, you can actually find Chinchinos in evolved form. I was hoping for that, but the chances of it coming up are incredibly low, and let's just face it, I just wasn't willing to wait that long. However, we do find a Leopard here. Yeah, we can actually finally start catching evolved Pokemon in the wild, which is pretty cool. And your AI is Yeah, your AI is dumb. Yeah, so let's just sleep this thing, and funnily enough, in my recent tournament match, I actually went up against someone who used a Leopard and also a Breloom, and was constantly sleeping me while the Leopard was still out, encoring everything. That was really irritating. But let's just try and catch this thing. Might want to try using the Ultra Ball, because, you know, this is an evolved thing, and it might be a little hard to catch them. Whoa, that was annoying. Yeah, either I'm just really unlucky or I need to weaken it more. I probably need to weaken it more. Uh-oh, it started to use torment. So, as long as it's tormenting you aren't able to use the same move twice in a row, which actually gets really annoying. I'm actually not sure if that counts if I... Wow, that was powerful. Anyway, Stab Pursuit, yeah. Not sure if it counts. If I missed Sleep Powder, I'm not sure if I would be able to use it next turn or not. I probably still wouldn't. Anyway, let's recover a bit of HP with Mega Drain. And please do critical hit, thank you. Right then. Now, yeah, I want to catch this thing because even though Leopard isn't that great of a Pokemon, I'm not going to risk it and waste any more Ultra Balls. It's still one of the only evolved things we can get at this point, and, you know, it's going to help us quite a bit, especially given that it is really freaking fast for this point in the game. So again, basically catching evolved Pokemon there, you know, in the wild is the only way you're going to be able to get them. Huh, they, wow, vanish and appear unexpectedly, so they're either a ninja or some kind of visible cloaking device cat, so that's weird. So anyway, I couldn't resist the, obvious name here, so I'm gonna name this thing Felicia. Yeah, that's kind of an obvious reference. So then, let's see if I can find anything else here. Oh, that's it, I still need the Goth, don't I? And a Minchino, that's not the highest level they appear at. Yeah, in Black and White 2, you're actually forced to catch a Minchino kind of close by here, and it actually has to hit the ability Skill Link, which is really useful considering that Minchino sure does learn a lot of multi-hit moves, and Skill Link ensures they always hit 5 times. You know what, I'm just going to skip ahead to when I find something useful. Several Goth attempts to defile Cannon later, and we find a level 24 Goth. This is gonna be, yeah, this is the highest level we can get them, so I might as well grab one. Not that Gothita is gonna be that useful, it's pretty pathetic for an unevolved Pokemon, and we can't actually evolve it, so I'm probably not gonna use it, but just for sheer hilarity value, I'm gonna catch one of these anyway. And wow, that hit a lot. So, sleep that thing, quickly finish off the Leopard, and yeah, Rock Tomb that thing to cut its speed down a little. And you're still asleep. You know, it'd be funny if well, whenever a Gothita falls asleep, it just produces a coffin out of nowhere and sleeps in that. But anyway. So, oh, wow, that was quick. Please, don't mind me talking about sleeping in coffins and bad fanfics and the like. That was quite powerful. Yeah, Lilligant at this point is pretty much a glass cannon, and my sleep powder just missed into it. That's not good. Okay, Psybeam. Oh, Psybeam, actually, that's pretty powerful. I seriously underestimated that thing. Of course, Hungry Croc is, just happens to be immune to that. Unfortunately, he just got taken down by a, not sure if it's hungry or not, cat. And, oh yeah, the whole mechanics of switching in new Pokemon to replace fainted ones in doubles is kind of weird in this generation. You've actually got to shuffle the order around in the party manually. The game doesn't really, you know, give you a good idea of that, exactly, so it can be kind of annoying. Right then, now I need to hit this, thing with, okay, good thing I got Psybeam, that's good. Yeah, given that, Sigilyph is a much better Psychic type at this point, I probably don't really need a Gothita, but I'm just going to catch this for completion purposes. Psybeam again. Psybeam is surprisingly powerful at this point, even, you know, with Stab and all. In fact, you know, I probably already mentioned this, but back in Colosseum, Espeon the Psybeam is pretty much good enough to get through most of the game. Okay, don't use Whirlwind. Don't misclick and use Whirlwind. Well, at least misclicking with Whirlwind isn't quite as bad as, Oh, I'm trying to bird this thing, aren't I? Yeah, to increase my chances of catching it. Misclicking for Whirlwind is quite as bad as misclicking to self-destruct in a Nuzlocke. Yeah. Oh, and the power of bad fanfiction makes me too horrified to use items. Fortunately, embargo doesn't work on Pokeballs, so... wow. Yeah, if that happened, then, that would be really annoying. Oh, I hate it when that happens! 3 wobbles and it still breaks out. And now it's gonna golf slap us. Oh, Nightshade, fixed damage move, that's nice. I don't have to worry about damaging it too much. And... Psybeam... And... Uh-oh. Ah, so that was annoying. I thought you'd actually, Alright, and, there's the first shot of my Mummy ability in action. Basically, anytime another Pokemon hits me with a physical contact move, their ability gets turned into Mummy. Now, as long as you don't use this on a Slacking or an Archeops, you're probably fine. Most Pokemon won't appreciate losing their abilities. Just be careful though, because now their ability is Mummy. If you then hit them with something else using a physical attack, your ability on one of your other Pokemon is going to turn into Mummy, and the whole thing just keeps spreading. They are always staring at something. Perhaps that something is Darko Malfoy wearing leather pants. So, anyway, I know definitely what to name this thing. And if I catch any more of this evolution line, I've got plenty of, yes, I'm gonna call this one Enobi, and I've got plenty of names to name, more, ones of this evolution line. Wow, there's almost a whole book's worth of misspellings of that name. Enobi, Engolki, Egagi, Tara. So, anyway. Yes, that was totally a seamless edit. What are you talking about? Yeah, I admit I actually did run into this backpacker earlier on and had to load a save state because, yeah, I just didn't want to be bothered. So, speaking of backpackers, let's sneak past that guy. And, oh, cut tree. I'm actually not sure what's behind that, but what we're interested in is this little forest passage here. And for some reason, it's now spring. That was, yeah. Yeah, new seasons don't take effect until you actually enter another area. So, seems like winter's gone and spring is here. Uh-oh. Oh no, that song's gonna get stuck in my head. Uh-oh, that's bad. Okay, I'm just gonna forget that and get this song out of my head for a few moments, and talk about Lost Lawn Forest. So we find a big mushroom. Big mushrooms have never been all that useful, ever since after Fire Red and Leaf Green. They stopped being useful for move relearning. But I guess you can sell them for a bit of money, especially to the gourmet maniac. So anyway, Lost Lawn Forest is a bit of a very weird side area. It's kind of out of the way, and there's not much reason to actually visit this place, apart from the wild Pokemon you can find here. And no, I'm not talking about Cottony. I'll actually talk about this a little later. But first, there's this big open field here. If you speak to this guy here, he again talks about the main theme of the game. Oh, I guess some people enjoy Pokemon musicals, and I don't think they're fun, so yeah. So he's gonna go off and tell you that the woman who lives here seems to think living by herself is important. Now, if you go into this little caravan and talk to her, she's not gonna say anything. There's nothing much to check out in this place, so this is strange, isn't it? Okay. Spoiler alert, that woman is in fact a Zoroark, but you won't know unless you've transferred one of these shiny event legendary beasts from Gold and Silver. I believe they were given out on Wi-Fi sometime around the Zoroark movie. If you transfer one of them to this game, using this very specific feature called the... I actually forget what it's called. Oh, the Relocator, that's it. It's called the Relocator. You can unlock this by going to a certain building in Castelia City that I didn't show, and telling the guy, I believe it's everyone happy simple connection. I think that's it. Let me just double check. Yes, that is in fact correct. Everyone, happy, simple, connection, in that order. So once you've unlocked that, you can use it from the main menu to transfer very specific event Pokemon and items from Heart Gold and Soul Silver over to this game. And if you do that, that is the only way you'll be able to confront this Zoroark. Now, bring one of them to this area, and Zoroark will reveal its true form and battle you. Once you catch it, it'll be level 25 and female, which means you'll be able to breed it pretty easily. This, or the earlier event that gives you Zorua, that's unlocked by using the same relocator I mentioned to bring an event Celebi over to Black and White, and speaking to the guy in Castelia City who also keeps saying ... Yeah, he turns out to be a Zorua, but there's no battle involved there. You'll just get him in your party immediately. So yeah, those two ways are actually the only way to obtain Zoroark, but fortunately, I don't really consider this as annoying as a lot of other event Pokemon, because you actually do get a chance to see Zorua in your Pokedex by, that person in Castelia City. And due to that, you can actually get them off the GTS pretty easily. So, actually, they're not as tedious to obtain as most event Pokemon, and in Black and White 2, you'll be given a Zorua over the course of the storyline automatically, and a pretty damn good Zorua at that, so that's quite useful, but we'll get to that a bit later. So anyway, like I was saying, that woman is a Zoroark, but there is one other reason we want to come to this place. That reason is probably not what you'd expect. There is some dark grass here, but it's only accessible if you have Waterfall, which we definitely don't have yet. There's also a bunch of hidden items up there, but anyway, you might be wondering why am I running back and forth aimlessly? Well, I'm waiting for some rustling grass. But why would I want to encounter a Dino when I can't gain experience, you might say? Well, let's see, some rustling grass right there. Let's see what we've got here. What's this? A Pansear? Whoa, that's new. Yeah, really the main reason you want to come to Lost Lawn Forest at this point in the game is what you can get in shaky grass. There's actually a lot of unique Pokemon you can find in the rustling grass. In fact, it's one of the few areas where your chances of finding a Dino are only something like 45 or 50%. Yeah, that is amazing. So, anyway, let's go catch this thing, and I'll just take a brief moment to discuss the other things you can find here. I stayed for a little while, just to see if I could find any more interesting Pokemon here, but unfortunately I didn't really have much luck. I'll just cut to that in a moment. So, yeah, let's go get this Pansear. You can also find the... Wait a minute, what was that? Wait a second, could you replay that for a second? What you just witnessed, and in fact it actually surprised me too, was a critical capture. Critical captures are a new mechanic introduced in Generation 5, and what's really weird is, I don't think I ever encountered one of these in my first playthrough of the original Black on my actual official game. I'm sure I never encountered one of these during the main story of that game. Definitely not. And I can't even remember encountering one in the all of, 500 hours I played after the main story? For some reason, I seem to be getting critical captures in this emulated playthrough a lot more than I did back in my real game. But anyway, what exactly is a critical capture? Well, you can tell you've done a critical capture when you hear a slightly different sound effect when the Pokeball is thrown. Once the Pokemon is actually inside the ball, it will shake a bit in mid-air before it hits the ground. After that happens, it'll only wobble once, and then the Pokemon will either be caught or actually break out. It actually is possible for a critical capture to fail, and that's actually really irritating. But when it doesn't, the ball will only shake once. Basically what a critical capture does is massively increase the odds of actually the capture being successful, obviously. Now the chances of a critical capture occurring, the formula is a bit weird. How it works is this. First, the catch rate of the Pokemon is calculated normally using the regular capturing formula. Now, I don't want to go into the formula here because it's a little complicated, but basically, it's a number between 0 and 255. If the number is 255, you're actually guaranteed a capture anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But, anyway, basically, this number is calculated, and then it's multiplied by a certain value, and this value depends on the number of Pokemon registered as caught in your Pokedex. Yeah, that's kind of weird. So essentially, if you have less than 30 Pokemon registered as caught, a critical capture will never occur, because the rate for the multiplier is actually 0 in this case. So you need to have more than 30 Pokemon caught before you'll even start seeing this mechanic happen. But if you have between 31 and 150 Pokemon caught, which is I think what I've got at this point in the game, the multiplier here is 0.5, so actually it kind of lowers the value a bit. For 151 to 300 Pokemon, the multiplier is 1. 301 to 450, 1.5. 451 to 600, 2, and if you've caught over 600 different species of Pokemon, your multiplier is 2.5. Now basically, the ordinary calculated catch value is multiplied by this modifier. Then another random number is generated. If this random number is less than the new modified number, a critical capture occurs. Now, how exactly does a critical capture work? Well, basically, the capture only makes one shake check instead of 3. So basically, it'll only do one shake, and that'll either catch or it won't. In practice, that actually does increase the odds of a successful capture, because normally, the Pokemon has 3 chances to break out of the ball, 1 for each shake. For critical capture, they only have 1. Apparently, as Bulbapedia illustrates, throwing a regular Pokeball at a full health Kyurem, which has catch rate of 3, normally only has a 0.4% or 1 in 255 chance of actually catching. If a critical capture occurs, the chance is increased to 1 in 4, and that's a massive, massive boost. Bear in mind, that's just a basic Pokeball thrown at full health. So if the Kyurem was even lower on health, a critical capture would be almost guaranteed to catch the Pokemon. However, bear in mind a critical capture can still fail. Yeah, that is annoying. And I'm not entirely sure, but you might see that happen later in the playthrough. Anyway, a critical capture will only be guaranteed to succeed if the Pokemon would have actually been caught anyway before the critical capture was programmed to occur. So, yeah, it actually won't help you there. Now, one thing I'm wondering about, though, is it possible for a Master Ball to do a critical capture? I have a feeling it might actually be possible, but it'd just be kind of funny because it'd be pointless anyway. But is it possible to do a critical capture on a Master Ball? Could someone inform me if that's possible? But anyway, that's all for talking about critical capture. Just surprisingly, my first one seemed to occur here. So, this little guy was caught via a very, very lucky coincidence. So, I guess I should, name this thing. Oh, yeah, before I was, rudely interrupted, I was gonna say you can find the other 2 monkeys here, too. It's actually a good thing I found this one, because if I'd found a Panpour, this would have been really annoying. So, anyway, given that this is a fire type, I'm going the obvious name pun route here. I'm gonna call you Bernard. I'm actually sure someone's already done this before, but anyway. And yeah, so I caught something in rustling grass, and at this point, I spent ages searching this area, desperate to find something else in rustling grass to show off. There are actually quite a lot of things you can find in the rustling grass here, and that's actually the main reason I actually went to this area, because other than that, there's really no point in going here, if I'll be honest with you. Ordino only has a 45% chance of appearing here, although annoyingly, 45% is still pretty high, and I still ran into more Ordinos than I really should have in this very, very annoying encounter farming segment. So yeah, as for the other things you can find here, as I said, the 3 elemental monkeys can be found. Pansage, Pansear, and Panpour. all of these have a 10% chance of appearing each, so you have a combined 30% chance of running into one of the monkeys. Of course, bear in mind, you already have your monkey you got earlier at this point, so roughly it's a 20% chance to get a monkey you didn't have before. You can also find unpheasants with a 5% chance, Leavanny with another 5% chance, and Whimsicott if you're playing black, or Lilligant if you're playing white. Both of them have a 5% chance of showing up. Also, there's Emolga, which has a 10% chance of appearing, but Emolga can be obtained elsewhere. In fact, literally right outside. So, not much point looking for an Emolga here. Now, if I'll be honest with you, I was really hoping for a Leavanny here. Unfortunately, Fate had other ideas. What I ended up getting after ages of searching was an Unpheasant. Oh well, I guess it's one of the only Stage 3 Pokemon I can get at this point in the game, so I guess it's kind of useful. Of course, this here is my only Quick Ball, so chucking it right at the start would be kind of useful for something that's only a 5% chance of finding it, but damn it, it broke out. Obviously. So I'm going to have to do things the hard way. This thing also likes to spam Quick Attack. Yeah, now, quite a few times I've actually critical and KO'd things with Psybeam here, so I hope that doesn't happen now. Unfortunately, there is a really annoying thing about Unpheasant here. I'm going to try and use Psywave here to just get down to red. Unfortunately, yeah, there's a bit of a nasty thing about Unpheasant. Yeah, they have roosts. They can heal themselves, and this gets really annoying if you're trying to catch them. Really annoying. Yep. Pretty damn irritating. Oh, wow. That carried me? That's annoying. Okay, guess I've got to get Sandy Claws in there. Just don't use Smackdown. I mean, it's already removing its own flying type roost anyway, but yeah, I still don't want to risk it. Come on, Great Ball. I have a feeling this is not going to work. Nope. Wow, really didn't work. At least I'm quite resistant to Quick Attack, so that this should be fine for the most part, provided that I don't, provided that I don't just, or anything. And it's in the red. Good, I should start spamming stuff now. Come on, Great Ball. I don't want to waste my Ultra Balls here. Please don't make me waste my Ultra Balls. Come on. And yes, I can breathe a sigh of relief. You have no idea how long it took me to find that thing. Seriously, for a 45% rate, so many Ordinos. Oh, that's interesting. See, the Pokédex data here says the female's flying abilities surpass that of the males. However, males and females still have the exact same stats, so, that's not actually reflected in gameplay at all. Yeah, the females do look noticeably less fancy than the males, and that's actually a reflection of real-life birds. So anyway, for some reason I decided to name this thing Duffez, just because I thought it sounded kind of cool. So anyway, that's basically everything I had to show in Lost Lawn Forest. And exiting out, and suddenly the trees are noticeably less blue, and everything's a bit brighter. Yep, it's spring now, so yeah, that's interesting. Just happened to change seasons while I was in there, so that's kind of weird. Now, yeah, I am trying to find something in Rustling Grass here. Actually, I kind of gave up for a bit. I just wanted one more try at that, you know, Chinchino, that's it. So anyway, I kind of gave up and decided that I really want to find out what's on the other side of this tree, because seriously, I just don't want to leave something uncollected. It's going to torment me for the rest of the game if I leave it here, so I may as well teach my Sandile Cut, because I'm going to get rid of a few of its other moves anyway. I mean, Mud Slap is pretty terrible, so yeah. Not the Cut's much better, but still, you can't really do much worse than Mud Slap. So, let's just cut this down. I wonder how Sandile actually cuts trees. Does he, like, just eat them? Anyway, good thing I did this, though, because we get a rare candy, and you know just how valuable those things are in this kind of playthrough. Really valuable they are. You know, since they're the only way to level up and all. So, yeah, gonna want to collect those whenever possible. Now let's just dodge the next few trainers, dodge past this police officer, nothing to see here, officer, I'm definitely not doing anything illegal. And back to Nimbasa City. So that trip was alright. Just something I should probably mention now. You can actually go to Route 5 as well at this point in the game, but the wild Pokemon on that route are exactly the same as the ones that can be found on the other side of Nimbasa City, so there's really no point. All that's there is just a bunch of trainers, and you know how pointless it is to fight trainers in this kind of playthrough, so yeah, no point in going there just yet. So then, let's check out what we got. We didn't have that good of a haul as we did in Desert Resort, but we found some interesting things. So let's just check. Firstly, we have Baggles. Jolly, that's interesting. I guess Baggles could be alright as a semi-wall thing. Sludge is actually surprisingly powerful for a low-tier move, so yeah. Alright, there's Leopard. There's Felicia. Quiet Nature, that's minus speed. That's not so good. Oh well though, it's still pretty fast, so I might as well be able to use her for a bit. And Nobby, Mild Nature, likes to thrash about. Does that thing have a perfect attack IV? That would be really weird if it did. Probably doesn't, but again, it would be really, really amusing if it did have one. Lax Nature, not that great, but still. Still, you're alright. Oh yeah, for some reason, yeah, I actually caught an Emolga off camera, back in Lost Lawn Forest. Yeah, I just got tired of recording all those Ordinos, so I basically just stopped recording, essentially, and ooh, Duffez is a Lonely, that is great, that. Plus attack, unfortunately it has, like, no physical moves except for quick attack, but it should be alright. Shame it's kind of weak against the next gym, though. So yeah, that Emolga, yeah, I'm sorry I didn't actually get that on camera, but, yeah, Timid is actually pretty good for an Emolga though, so that might be useful a bit later. So, right then, let's buy some stuff. Now, Nimbasa City is one of the first cities to have a TM department. Now, unlike earlier games in the series, yeah, you can only buy one of each of these TMs, but once you do, you will never have to worry about that TM again. However, the TMs are incredibly expensive. Well, fittingly, since you can only buy them once. There are some quite good TMs on sale there, but for the time being I'm going to restock my Pokeballs. Get some more Great Balls, that'll be kind of useful. Maybe a couple of items in preparation for the next thing. Now, I've restricted myself from using revives during battle, but I can use them outside of battle to revive some things if Pokemon Center's not quite within, the area. So I might get a couple of these. Not too many, just, I don't know, a few of them. Yeah, maybe just a couple. Or not, I don't know. Since I can't use them in battle, yeah. What I will be needing, though, is a couple of Super Repels. These are actually more cost-effective than Max Repels, so you want to buy as many of these as you can. Especially if you don't like wild Pokemon encounters, which, let's face it, not many people do when they've already, when they aren't EV training or they've caught everything on the route. So anyway, we can't buy full heals yet, which is really, really annoying, because, I hate having to buy the individual status healers. They're just so worthless once full heals are available. But for the time being, I'll get a couple of Paralyze heals in case Alessa pulls hacks on me. Other than that, we can't afford any of those TMs, so that's pretty much all we'll be doing, and next time, we will go after Alessa. But not before a certain other plot fight that's also quite tricky. Yep, we've got 2 bosses in a row coming up next, so we better make sure we're prepared.